Hello, my name is Regina Sexton and welcome to our celebrations of Patrick's Week. And for the week that's in it, we thought we would put together a celebration of the foods possibly taken by the saint himself. So we have a table from the early to the later medieval period in Ireland. We're cheating a bit because in fact we have the whole year together on one table, and in fact the diet was not at all like that. It was more seasonally dictated. So for the winter and the early spring months to this time of the year, in fact, the diet was dominated by cereals, most usually oats, taken in the form of porridge and gruels, and more usually oaten cakes like these ones here. Wheaten bread was also there, but it was a luxury product and so on, so more associated with the wealthy classes and for days of special celebration and holiday. But then when we come into the early summer months, particularly from May onwards, the diet was dominated by dairy produce, called in the documentary evidence white meats. And that covered the full array of foods that you can get from milk to thickened milk, to very thick milk, to yellowy, maybe beestings milk, the colostrum from the cattle themselves. And then just to the separation of the milk itself into the body of curds and whey, and then to the creation of pressed cheeses and soft cheeses and cheeses that are maturing. And then of course for the winter months, and this is the real value of milk because you can eat it fresh and you can eat it preserved, a whole array of hard, semi-hard and very hard cheeses. And essentially that diet of bread and cheese was supplemented and enlivened with various different things, particularly vegetables from the garden or products that were taken from the wild. And the vegetables that are mentioned for the most part are the alliums like onions, garlic and leeks, and the brassicas like cabbages and kales. And in fact, at this time of the year, which comes as a very welcome addition because food stocks are running low, the woodlands are turning out the first crop of wild garlic, adding a wonderful sort of embellishment and boost or flavour to the diet in the lean months of winter and early spring. So basically the diet was bread and cheese, and that was supplemented by various different condiments or relishes. And we hear talk, for example, of herb gardens, particularly for the sick, but also to add relish to the fairly bland diet of cereals and bread. Things like leeks, garlic, the brassicas like kale and cabbages, and the other relishes and condiments that I suppose we can talk about are things like berries in season, like blackberries, nuts, particularly in the form of hazelnuts, and apples. And so too the summer and early autumn brought favourite fish, particularly migratory fish like salmon, eels and trout, both sea trout and brown trout. And we seem to think that the waters and seas were well stocked with these migratory fish in the medieval period, as they were with shellfish like oysters and so on. Unfortunately, stocks have diminished in recent times, particularly of salmon, and in an Irish context, eels. And in fact, the eel that we have here today, because of the problem, is a French eel. So I suppose this essentially is a wonderful celebration of the early medieval diet for St. Patrick's Week. And now, just to finish our celebration of all this wonderful food, we're going to read a little piece from the wonderful Middle Irish tale, The Aisling of Miconglinna, The Dream of Machonglinna, which is a piece all about a land made of food. And to help me with the reading is the Emeritus Professor of Old and Middle Irish, Pádraig Ó Riain.
Aislinge ad Chonor go Rir, Mogol for fecht, Dish nu trúr, Ganaka and dech wind vor long, Reve a lumnaan de view, Ganaka and loch levnochte for laar moeie vind, Ganaka and dech leer hineva, na thuggies dien. Tantanog in a woer himschel, de eerheid ird, maar oge na geerd verves, beheert shin a skilb. a die sind bogge brechtain, a levend de rus is diem. Imde de vlonig vlazig, skees de thannig thiem. Fyr verstiesriches na sties sin, de weithel wig velig vien, fyr gentikse gonne gwyzel, gwy gridne gach enid div. Kydde ravur lawn de loving, dadlum rolavus wish glow. Brasach brisse dullach down van, Lester lumnaan, lawn de show. Tech sille, da hid Taiwan, keilach, keilaan, kivje, clown, de gach biws, buzz mas la dinge, dadlum, bader ille and.
A vision I had last night. I went forward 2 or 3. I saw a fair and well-filled house, in which there was a great store of food. A lake of new milk I saw in the middle of a fair plain. A well-appointed house I saw, thatched with butter. As I went around to view how it was arranged, puddings fresh boiled were its thatch rods, its 2 soft doorposts of milk, curds and butter, its dais of curds and butter, beds of glorious lard, many shields of thin-pressed cheese, and under the straps of those shields were men of soft, sweet, smooth cheese, men who knew not to wound a gweil. Spears of old butter had each of them. A huge cauldron, I thought I'd try it. Boiled leafy kale, browny white. A vessel full of milk, a bacon house of 2 score ribs, wattling of tripe, the support of clans. Of every food pleasant to man, I saw the whole gathered there. A vision I saw last night, a fair spell, 'twas full of strength to me appeared. I saw courtyards topped with trees, a bacon palisade, a bristling rubble dyke of swollen cheese. Puddings of pigs were made its beautiful rafters. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this small demonstration of early and medieval Irish food, many of which actually continues as very good staples into the diet today, and is particularly maybe mimicked in the wonderful farmhouse cheese industry we have. So as I say, I hope you enjoyed it, and in particular I'd like to thank Professor Padraig O'Rian for reading some of that marvellous poem, the later medieval tale from the monastery of Cork, the Aisling Mic Conglina.